you, Brandon, for joining me. Do you mind introducing yourself and telling me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Brandon Lester, part of the AFCEA Hawaii chapter. I'm the current executive vice president. Have spent the better part of the past 5 years as the chapter here. Started as a vice president of, at the time, Young AFCEANs, now the Emerging Leaders Organization. Have spent a lot of my career in the IT field and currently work for Microsoft.
Oh, nice. And what do you do for Microsoft?
I'm an account technology strategist, and we think of that as folks that can help envision the art of the possible for our customers. So within the Department of Defense and the intelligence community, one of the exciting opportunities is to peer with CTOs of those organizations and envision where the future should lead.
Right. Would you say you're a bit of a technologist then?
Absolutely. I've always been a technologist at heart. I studied engineering when I was younger and really enjoyed the first part of my career focused on mechanical engineering, hands-on, manufacturing, and a few years into my career realized I had a really great opportunity to jump towards the IT career field and have not looked back since.
Sure. Were you one of those kids when you were little, like my son, who took things apart just to see what they were?
Absolutely. As a kid, I remember getting some of those disposable cameras, ripping off the cardboard, pulling pieces apart, and for what people don't know, the thing that makes the flash go is a very large capacitor. And if you touch that, you get a pretty good shock. I learned that a couple times.
Oh, nice. And would you say that curiosity has helped you in your career, and do you think that's a quality that emerging leaders kind of need to have in this day and age?
It's a great point. So being curious has absolutely helped me, and the second part is always finding a way to make the most of opportunities given to us. So I wouldn't say everybody absolutely needs to be curious to be successful in their careers, but what they need to do is be curious about talking to other folks, be curious about how to go learn more. There's this series of different things folks have learned nowadays. Part of it is instead of being a know-it-all, in which you gather a bunch of facts, learn it all and just continue to try and learn new things.
Right, and what are emerging leaders at AFCEA, and why is that group important, I guess?
Emerging leaders, and I'm still in the group, are really where we are going to look in the coming years to continue the traditions that have been established in AFCEA, but also break some glass and change things up as we need to. So the emerging leader community is critical not only to AFCEA's broader engagement, but every chapter, and gives opportunities for mentorship, folks that have been there and done that and want to share that knowledge with the teams, and really opportunities for early career and students that want to find ways to contribute to the community.
Right, sure. And what can current, I guess, I wouldn't say older, but maybe more seasoned leaders, what can they learn from emerging leaders?
Yeah, there's this common discussion of what reverse mentorship might be. And I have this conversation over and over, and it is just mutual mentorship. We talked through a few different panels this week. One of them was a comment about how digital natives have something to offer. I would argue to the extent that from a person that, in my experience, was not a detailed, I was born when phones and computers were prevalent, but grew up with them. The perspectives that we have are really an opportunity to share back with what our lived experiences are, and the technologies change, but the mentorship component to it is, no matter where we are, I think it's easy to joke the younger generation always has stuff to figure out and they got to go learn something different, but having that perspective across the different generations, especially within AFCEA, is something that think really offers opportunity for us to drive the change that needs to happen.
Right, yeah, I love being at events where there's, younger people and then people who maybe are already retired in their 60s or even 70s and they have that body of knowledge. I think that's pretty amazing. And we're here in the Indo-Pacific in Honolulu. Kind of what's at stake for this region? I know for me, just even being here, you get a sense of the vastness of the region and the importance of what's going on with near-peer adversaries. What's your kind of view from being in this area?
It's a common discussion, certainly with technology, and we'll throw that part of it out because there's always going to be some sort of technology challenge. I think the sense of community here is different, and it's palpable in a sense that there's many different island nations, and of course the Indo-Pacific region, including India all the way to California. I've always loved traveling and spending time in Japan and Korea and Southeast Asia and all the islands across the Pacific really give you an understanding of not only are we very far apart, but also still close together from a community perspective. And so the sense of being able to travel very far, but then still feel connected, maybe in the same way or even differently, more so than traveling from one state to another in the CONUS regions.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what advice would you give to new emerging leaders kind of coming up in their careers? Any words of wisdom?
Yeah, I often retell the same thing. I think I mentioned it earlier, making the most of opportunities. Every opportunity that I've been given through AFCEA has benefited not only myself, but given me a chance to give back to my peers, really enabling that I can gain mentorship and then share mentorship. And throughout my career, a series of different things that have happened have all been really hoping that I can make the most of each of those opportunities. So in combination with being curious, go finding opportunities and then making the most of those.
Right, sure. And then how do you balance kind of work-life? I think that the pandemic kind of maybe drove that home for all of us, either in a good way or a bad way, but how do you kind of balance that, creating your career and, having a life outside of that?
Yeah, I shifted to working remotely when I moved to Hawaii years ago, and it was before the pandemic. There were a lot of challenges. I was coordinating a lot with people in other time zones, and so I had to shift not only my mentality, but re-coordinate with young kids growing up and going into school, what all of that meant for me. And I think it really is setting those boundaries. There are some better tools now where you can say, all right, I'm done at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, shut it off. But then you just go to the next thing and maybe you have other work that you're doing. So the balance for me is just making time for your family and making time for yourself.
Yeah, and maybe your generation does a better job at that, I hope. I don't know.
It's a struggle sometimes. It is.
Yeah. And anything else you'd like to share or highlight?
I often think about my time in AFCEA, especially AFCEA Hawaii, and the first thing that always comes to mind is gratitude from myself, understanding, given these opportunities, not everyone gets them, and being able to participate in the community and meet new folks on a consistent basis. The job I have now, I honestly don't think I would have those opportunities without what I was able to accomplish within AFCEA and what AFCEA has given to me in my career. So I'm always really looking forward to being able to share that with other emerging leaders throughout the next few years.
Right, sure. And you're taking over as AFCEA Hawaii president in the spring.
I am.
That's very exciting.
It is.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, AFCEA Hawaii is a great chapter, and there's a lot of history. AFCEA Hawaii is one of the co-sponsors of TechNet in the Pacific, and it's been going very strong for 35 plus years now. So there's a lot of responsibility, but also a lot of opportunity to imagine what we've done in the past and influence from an emerging leader's perspective going forward.
Right, well, all the best with your efforts, and thanks for being such an inspiring emerging leader.
Thank you.
Thanks.